Before I start in talking about our football team, I want to recognize Maria Hickman and our academic staff at the Dodie Anderson Academic Enrichment Center. A phenomenal job. DJ Park and York Jones both graduated in May. Sky Moore finished his exam Saturday and graduated from the University of South Carolina. We have 8 guys that are on track to graduate in December, and 2 of them that still have eligibility. So you're talking about 11 guys on your football team that are walking out of there with their diploma, finishing their eligibility. And that's an amazing, impressive stat, and that's why they're here. They're here to get their education, and I compliment Maria and all of those young men and the job that they've done. As far as injuries are concerned, Rodriguez Davis, I think we're going to get him back Wednesday or Thursday of next week. He's just had some issues getting off the soft tissues. C.J. Freeman has still coming off his ACLs, had some soreness, so he's been in and out of practice, hoping to get him back next week. Taven Jackson has a little bit more of a serious hamstring, probably going to be at least 2 to 3 weeks on him before we get him back. Stephen Montag's going to come out of the walking boot next week. I hope to get him back for preparation for NC State. And we'll know more when he gets out of the walking boot. I don't know right now. Shot Smith has a hamstring, but he'll be back Monday. He should be able to practice Monday. And right now, Chris Smith's got a hip issue. He has not been practicing with us, and most likely is headed for a medical. It's not a surgery, anything you can repair with surgery, but he's in a lot of pain, and really long term we felt like that might be the best situation for him. As far as the scrimmage today, Malik Young dinged his shoulder, but he should be fine for Monday, and DJ Smith had a stinger on his shoulder. He should be fine for Monday. But I thought we were a little bit sloppy today. We got about 50 snaps with the first 2 groups and about 45 with the third group. We got a lot of situational work. We finished a game. We played it out an entire fourth quarter. Parker White hit a game-winning field goal from about 53, 54 yards, which was impressive. But just a little bit sloppy for me. I thought the first scrimmage was cleaner as far as our operation on both sides, communication, just the little things that we need to clean up. We still have 2 weeks before the first game. We still have 2 great days to work on South Carolina as an open practice Monday, and we're expecting a huge crowd in our stadium Monday night. It'll be a lot of fun, and then Tuesday as well. So we've got a lot of work to do on South Carolina before we even turn to our first game. But decently pleased with the effort. We just got to clean some things up, and I'll open up for any questions.
Well, 19 days in, is there one running back that you say that's my starter, or are they still pretty neck and neck?
Well, I think that they're, Tyson and Rico have very similar styles, and AJ is a different style. But again, I think that they've all had their moments in camp, and I know we can win with all 3.
Do you have a competition at place kicker?
Yeah, we do. I mean, as of right now, I think Parker's kind of come out of the woodwork as far as a guy that in spring. We were sort of looking at him as far as a guy that felt like was going to be our kickoff guy, and certainly has done a nice job in camp to this point, but hit a pressure field goal to win the game with 1 second left on the clock, and a nice 1-minute drive by Michael Scarnecchia, where Trey Smith made a heck of a catch across the middle, and we got down there, made a good decision as a staff to run the ball, to eat the clock, get to 1 second, and Parker went out and hit it right down the middle. So we're definitely in a competition.
Last week at this time, you talked like you expected Taven Jackson to play.
Yep.
At his age, does missing 2 or 3 weeks put that into some doubt for the season?
It's going to make it hard, but because of our numbers, he's going to have to play. So we've kept him up to speed. He's an extremely bright young man, and he's a guy that we're still counting on. But certainly, Josh, does that put a little bit? Yeah, it's a little bit of an issue of him missing as much time at this age.
For a guy at his age, or Trey has a lot of the upper body and has a lot of that type of ability to be moving people and be physical with his wide receiver skills. How much of a big feature is that you'll be able to use, especially early on?
Well, there's no question. I think he's continued to progress. We got to do a better job of hanging on to the football in some situations, because that's the most important thing in this organization is the ball. To take care of it as a ball carrier and to get it off people as a defensive player, and that's something today the ball was a little bit too loose for me.
What kind of day did Jake have?
Good day. I thought that we had some operation. We tried to work a little bit more on tempo, and really this week for the first time we put crowd noise. So now the communication, the nonverbal, the verbal, all of those things that go into making you a good offense, getting set with motion, being able to snap the ball on time. And we had a couple issues today that were sloppy. And again, at the end of the day, you hold your quarterback accountable to make sure that doesn't happen.
Well, do you think you're pretty set with your 5 starters on the offensive line, or are those guys still moving around?
No, we're still moving around. I mean, Dennis Daly and Malik are both competing at the left tackle position. Corey and Allen and Donnell and DJ have really distanced themselves inside, and DJ's also kicked out and played some right tackle. and Zach's played some right tackle. So right now we need more guys to step up.
Is it accurate that Brian, Debo, Ortre, Shy, and Terry are your top 5 receivers? And if so, who is 6?
Yep. Right now, what you said, Brian, you gotta slow down for me there.
Brian Edwards, Debo, Ortre, Shy, and
Now you're
Terry.
being sarcastic.
No, no, I really talked that slow.
Debo. Okay. So I think that well, mine's quicker than yours, but yeah, I know you
That's not a
can't.
high bar.
I know it, but you always have to have the last comment. All right. So you agree with me?
I do agree.
Georgia.
Yeah,
Okay. No, not at all. So
Georgia boys.
No. South Carolina guy now. I would say that is, and I think that, Randrikis' injury has hurt us and hurt him, because he's a guy that obviously we felt like could help us, and he still has some time to get that done, and we got confidence in him. Ortre's done a nice job. Chevis Dawkins has been a little limited, but he's not missed any practice time, so I credit him with fighting through an injury. But where I think we miss a little bit is, Casey Crosby, Hayden Hurst, and that Keel Pollard, and that mold of tight end can do some different things. Makes it very difficult for a defensive coordinator to count exactly what is on the field. And then you got a guy in the slot who's a very effective slot receiver matched up against a linebacker or a safety. So we have more depth there than probably we think, because of being able to flex out a tight end.
How much are you counting on Chalmers and Nix on a couple of JUCO transfers? Are you seeing what you would hope to see out of them when you took them out of JUCO?
Yeah, but need to see more. And certainly, Keeson not getting here till August certainly hurts you. So I think that both guys are capable, and we just need to get more out of them.
You said that there was probably going to be around 8-9 guys on the defensive side of newcomers that you would be using on the field for the first time. Have you gotten to the point where you've identified all those guys, or are you still evaluating as far as that goes?
Well, the evaluation process never ends. Whether you're, right now where we are 2 weeks out, or you're in the season, you're continuing to find out who is going to be a part of that best 11 to put out on the field at any given time. So we're still evaluating that, but certainly we need more guys. I told the team we need more guys to step up, especially on defense. Offensively, we've got some guys that have played. We have a little bit more of an expectation level of where they are and what they can accomplish. So we need some more guys to step up and play better. I'm somewhat young, but I am old-fashioned in believing that you will play like you practice, and that's the way it just works out for me.
Well, what's the status of Jordan Carty?
Jordan Carty is on campus today, and he will enroll in school on Thursday. And proud of that young man to continue to fight and put himself in a position that he's put himself into. And English is a second language, and that's people don't understand that part. And he's extremely bright, extremely intelligent. And but so there are some barriers there when you deal in that realm. And so I'm extremely proud of him.
Do you think he'll be able to help this year after he missed camp?
I think it'd be very difficult.
Jalen Dickerson surgery well?
Well, extremely well. Sure did. Jalen be back tomorrow. I texted with him last night again, and he was in good spirits. Went to see his high school team play, and they felt like the nerve surgeon felt like it went as good as it could go, as far as what they saw and what they thought they were going to see, and so we're extremely optimistic.
Are you at the point in camp now where you kind of sort of ease up a little bit so that you can regroup and have them peaking at the right time as you get ready for your opener?
Well, I think time off is the best thing for them right now, and we will have a complete day off. I told them, unless you need treatment, I don't want to see you in the building. You need to decompress. You need to get away from us. As a staff, we got a lot of work to do with our team about where we need to have certain guys on the field and our plan for them. We're going to have good practices Monday and Tuesday nights, so there will be no let off as far as that's concerned. We need to get some good work done. And then we'll have a complete day Wednesday off, and then Thursday we'll only have meetings. So we're going to have 48 hours where they're going to be off their feet, and that for a young man is a lot of time. And then we'll have a Tuesday on Friday, a Wednesday on Saturday, and a Thursday on Sunday, and then a Monday off, and we're in the game week.
For fans who will be there on Monday, do you have a good idea about what routine you guys will be using as far as what fans will see?
Well, I hope we see a team that's functioning at a high level and playing fast on the field, and I know they'll be excited to get in front of a fan base.
Well, are there any guys who might have been former walk-ons that you've awarded scholarships to?
Not at this time.
Is Chris Lamons, do you know yet if Chris Lamons is going to be a safety primarily for you and a cornerback?
Right now he's playing safety. He'd be our third corner, and he'd be probably our third nickel. depending on what package we're in. But Chris is extremely bright. He can play all the positions, and he'll be fine.
Rashad and Jamarcus would be your
Rashad
first two
and Jamarcus
corners.
right now are playing corner for us. They did a nice job today.
Everybody's still with you?
Yeah.
Nobody said heck with it.
They might have after today, but I don't know.
Dante Sawyer said he thought 70 snaps was realistic for a defensive lineman to be effective. Is that what you believe? Do you have a number? Does it vary for every guy, or is there a cap where you feel like we need to keep guys under?
We do have discussions about that. I think a lot goes into that. How hot is it? What kind of team are you playing? A tempo team? Are you playing a team that's going to huddle? I think when we have these discussions, all of that goes into account. Just to sit there and put a blank number on something, I think for me, Josh, is very difficult. I do think that we do target. I never want guys to play more than 8 or 9 snaps in a row. I just don't want that to happen. And if we get the ball on our sideline with a tempo team, we do try and substitute as best we can. Sometimes you want different combinations of guys in the game, and I'll tell them, don't let these two guys play together. From a standpoint of sometimes when you're with a guy like Taylor Stallworth, who's a senior, who is a calming factor for a younger defensive tackle. When you get 2 young defensive tackles in the game, we may have an issue. Or you get a defensive tackle and defensive end lined up together, and they're both really, really young, you may have an issue. So those are things we balance out of. If he's in the game, we need to make sure Taylor's in the game. And if he's in the game, we need to make sure he's in the game because of a calming factor, especially early in the year. Some of these kids got a high anxiety about playing and making a mistake and not wanting to make a mistake and that sort of thing. So that is a discussion that's over the next 2 weeks. There'll be a lot of discussions about those things. I don't necessarily go into a game with a number of snaps. I don't want them playing more than 8 or 9 snaps in a row. And you got to get him out of the game because when a big guy runs out of gas, he never gets it back. He's not like a skill guy. He's not getting it back that day. He's done. So we've got to watch that. And then I'll try to, in my opinion, watch the defense on both sides of the ball to say we look tired. We need to substitute. We need to sub more. We need to get more guys out. And I'm constantly asking for how many snaps have we played? How many snaps has he played? And we're charting snaps in the box. So we have an idea of how many snaps they've logged after the first quarter, midway through the second quarter. Then at halftime we're discussing. I'm saying, this guy's played 40 snaps already, guys. Come on, we got to sub him more in the second half. So that's a constant discussion. And a lot of it goes into game day heat, humidity, where's the wet bulb? I mean, all of those things we have discussions about.
Are you at the point now where you're comfortable to know what to expect from this team against NC State? Do you know this team well enough to know what you're going to see out there at this point?
I wouldn't say everyone. I have a pretty good idea of most guys. I think there's some youth that you're not ever sure what to expect. So, but I've got a pretty good comfortable feel with some of our upperclassmen.
Bryce Williams, a buck or a linebacker in your mind, or is there no distinction in your mind? Do you feel like
he's playing both, and he's moving around. He creates depth for our team. He is a very effective pass rusher when we ask him to do those things, and he plays good off the ball linebacker. So he's going to play both.